I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?
Well, you know, I've been interested in history for as long as I can remember. A lot of it was the time I grew up in. I grew up in South Central LA. I just turned 66 years old a week and a half ago. So a lot of it was the time when I was 14 years old. I actually took a pioneering course in what was called Negro history. It was still called that at that time. And I had a teacher who would come in, his name was Mr. Bowie. And Mr. Bowie would bring these LPs, including several of Malcolm. And one of them was Message to the Grassroots. And Malcolm would say in there, of all our studies, it is history most qualified to reward our research. And then when I was 18, as a university student, I was exposed to the work of Chancellor Williams, specifically Destruction of Black Civilization. And I knew I wanted to be a historian from that point on. So that's really my story, brother. Chancellor Williams is, let me just say this one thing, and this is what makes his work so important. He was the first historian that I ever read that told me that I had a history before slavery, number one. And number two, that African people had traveled all over the ancient world before shackles and chains were put on their hands and their feet. And I wanted to find out what happened to those sisters and brothers who left the motherland way back in the day. And that's taken me to today.
I'll go. Those of you on this sharing and those of you who are outside watching, listening, we have to give thanks for the great creator first, to that great creator, for bringing us here today in honor of Dr. Brother Man Runoko Rashidi. I know I can't hear you. I wish I could hear the Ame, because that creates that unity that we must have. But first, we thank the Mighty One. We thank that energy. We thank that love. We thank that spirit that gave us life and sustains our lives. And I say first, thank you. This is the creator who goes by many names and who is loved in every human group. I say thank you. You call the name Yao. Thank you, Yao, creator. Thank you, creator, for giving us life and for sustaining our lives. Thank you, creator Yao, 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 for making us part of this great family that Runoko, with all of his soul and all of his spirit, sought to bring to us. And he did it successfully. We say thank you to the creator for Runoko Rashidi. We say thank you to the family who has welcomed him and loved him. And now that he is with Professor Brother Man John Henry Clark, thank you. I know you're having a good time together, all of you who have gone before. And I wish I could hear you. If that's possible, sisters, could we hear each other? Because it requires a back and forth. And those from the HAPI family, if you in some way can allow us to hear, because I'd like to hear the Ashe, Yao, back and forth. We're going to call out names of ancestors. First, we're going to use this water that is heated by the spirit that is carried on our words. Yao, Yao, hello, Professor James. Can I hear?
Yao,
Yao, Yao.
However you say it.
Yeah.
Say whatever. Can I hear it again for Brother Runoko Rashidi? All that he gave us. Let's raise that brother forever. for what he did.
Yeah.
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 Thanks to John Henry Clark. I want you to call out some names where you are. Let us give thanks to who? Come on, let me hear you.
Asa Hilliard.
Yeah.
Asa Hilliard.
Russell Collins.
Dr. Ivan Van Sertima.
Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, yo.
Dr. Ben.
Dr. Ben Buchanan, yo.
Shashi McIntyre.
Sister Shaki McIntyre, yo.
Listerville Middleton.
Listerville Middleton, yo.
Absolutely.
We can
Dr. Amos Wilson.
Amos Wilson.
Francis Welsing.
Francis Wilson. Yeah.
Sister Sigmet Newton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't we blessed? Haven't we been blessed by the great Creator? Never left us alone. Even on those slave ships, we were not left alone. Came over here with us. Came through that enslavement. That spirit of that great Creator did that. And it's still, Runoko was told, like a brother who the library is named after him here in Harlem.
Schomburg, Brother Schomburg.
They told him he had no ancestry. They told him he had no family tree. And Brother Runoko Rashidi said, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to prove, I'm going to go and get it. And I want all of you and all of you professors here again to love that man, what he did. We have photographs of him coming later. Thank you, Rashidi. Thank you, Rashidi, Runoko, what you have done. And may what we say today, refreshed by the water, may it grow the truth that is in the soil of our people. May it spread that truth nationwide. It does not stop here. Share, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Ashe.
Asheo.
Peace, family. Welcome to the tribute to Dr. Runoko Rashidi. Rkhty, you have any words?
Yeah, no. Just want to thank Nana Camille Yarbrough for that powerful libation. This is the second such time we had something like this. The first time, it's about maybe a year ago or so when Dr. Patricia Newman made her transition. So we just want to remember these elders now who are ancestors for the mark they have left and the contributions they have made. And we just want to thank everyone for coming to join us, obviously in the audience, but as well as this illustrious panel to give thanks to this new anthem for Dr. Runoko Rashidi. So we celebrate him today in this memory, and I hope we understand the importance moving forward to honoring these great elders and speaking with them, spending time with them while they're here. I don't want to spend any more time on that. We have everyone here who's going to give a special tribute later on. I'll say a few words of what he meant, how he's impacted me, and we just keep the line moving forward.
Thank you. We're so honored tonight for his sister, Ms. Carol Strong, and her husband to be part of our tribute and our celebration of Dr. Rashidi's life. So we're going to bring her in. She's going to just give a few words. So without further ado, Mr. and Mrs. Strong.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
First of all, I want to say thank you to Felicia and Tony for allowing us to join you today. And also want to thank everyone that is online, everyone that has reached out to us around the world. for his love and their love and support for our brother. My sister Brenda, she's the oldest girl, and she's not able to join us today. But Runoko was the sixth of 7 children. I'm the youngest, and we had just talked to him Saturday, and the news was really devastating. It's something that I haven't really accepted yet, and I'm trying to get there. But I tell you, so many people have reached out. So many people have shown how important he was to them. We always had a chance to spend a lot of time with each other. And there wasn't a day that went by that we didn't talk, text, or email.
Yes, I just like to piggyback on what my wife was saying. We would just want to thank each and every one of you brothers and sisters for the love, so much love that you all have shown to the family and shown to Runoko. I'm sure he's looking down, smiling on each and every one of you. And if he could, he would probably just reach out and put his arms around each and every one of you and give you a big hug and tell you he loved you. And we love you for the love that you have shown to us. And we want to just thank everybody for the contributions that have been pouring out to continue his legacy. We just, you don't know, without each and every one of you, none of this could be possible. We would sort of be lost. And we just want to thank, I don't know everyone by name, my wife does, because she's been in contact with each and every one. I know Brother Tony because I just spoken with him. Man, you all have just been a God sent to us. And Runoko, I've known Brother Runoko since he was probably about 20 years old. I'm a few years older than him, but just to let you know that Brother Runoko was just like any other young man growing up, did his little do's and dirt, not anything criminal, but you know, as growing up as young men and women, we do our little mischievous things. And he was no different. And when he's home, he's just Runoko. You know, he's just a brother or uncle. And he would do the same things that any other individual would do. Last time I seen Runoko, he came to my house and we watched the basketball game together. And he would always kid me about the Lakers losing and get on my case about the Lakers because he knew I was a Laker fan. And so he spent that evening with me and he talked about how good my wife's food was. He loved to eat. So he always, you know, talked about that. And then the last time I saw him a few times after that at home, and I last spoke with him the Friday that he left Los Angeles. He called me and we chatted for a few minutes, and he asked me if I wanted him to bring me a souvenir back. And I told him, yeah, bring me something back that's good. So he said he would bring me something back. And when we got the news of his passing, it was so devastating to us because, you know, someone that you love so dear, it's never, you can't, you know, get used to that so unexpectedly. And it just devastated the family. And as you can see, my wife, she's still dealing with this. And I just want to say that we love Runoko. He was such a wonderful, wonderful person. He has one child, which is Asada, his daughter. And she's devastated, and he really loved her, and she loved him. He talked about her all the time, and I just sort of lost for words because we don't know where to go from here. And as I said once before, if it weren't for so many of you showing us so much love and lifting us up, we would be lost. So once again, we thank you, we love you, and we appreciate all the contributions to keep his legacy going.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Just as we move forward, there might have been a little mix-up with links, and so if you are currently viewing this show from the backstage, I need for you to go ahead and remove yourself and just move to either HAPI Film on YouTube or on Facebook to follow us, because there's currently you're currently a panelist. I know you don't want to be a panelist who's ever signed on now. They know who they are. Okay, we're just gonna bring everyone in and share our thoughts on Dr. Runoko Rashidi. Peace, Mr. Browder.
Hello.
Hey, Hotep, everybody.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Dr. Jeffries.
Yes, Hotep, peace, power.
Greetings, everybody.
Yes. Adams, Professor Small, and Dr. Rosalind Jeffries.
Hey, everybody.
We can go ahead and get started, and we just want you to share, any thoughts or a story that you may have about Brother Runoko Rashidi. And Dr. Jeffries, can we start with you, Dr. Leonard Jeffries?
Okay. Oh, unmute.
Is that Dr. Roz or Dr. Lynn?
Dr. Lynn, you are our eldest, I believe. By a few months.
Well, certainly, brothers and sisters, I'm glad that we're able to use this technology to connect in a very heavy spiritual way.
Yes.
The life of this great brother, who was not expected to be among the giants, but he rose to be among the giants. He came from his background in the West Coast, and then hit the East Coast, and then hit the high times in terms of traveling around the world. I think he's had more experience than any of us in the many locations where there is an African presence that needed to be exposed to the world. And he was able to systematically put these historical pieces together. So he made an unusual contribution. And he had a foundation relationship with so many of us. He mentioned the elders like Williams, but with others like our beautiful brother Ivan Van Sertima, he was actually a partner in the great work that Ivan Van Sertima did in terms of the Journal of African Civilization. And we have these books. This one is Blacks in Science, Ancient and Modern, and of course, Women in Antiquity. So he was able to make not only his personal contribution, but collaborate with the great ones. Another brother that we had to pay great respect to for his great work is Dr. Asa Hilliard. And again, he was one of the founders and leaders of our organization, ASCAC, the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. And similarly, he had this great love for Africa and African peoples and his understanding of the greatness of the Nile Valley. And so he was able to make this enormous contribution to organizations, to individuals, to movements. But more than that, he was able to go to the Nile in one of our great trips. And it was at that moment that the Creator and the great forces that have produced the African people made the decision that he needed to join the ancestral realm. And so to have Runoko Rashidi, who made such a great contribution, continuing this great work and being in Kemet at the time of his call to glory, Asa had that same process. He was there for a great conference that we had. And it was almost as if he knew the call was coming. And he left this great meeting of our peoples and he gave a thank you to us. And it was almost as if a farewell. And within a couple of days, he did make his transition. So when we talk about those of us who've been able to make enormous contributions, we also have to talk about how we were called by the ancestors to join the great ones on whose shoulders we have been standing. So I will always have the most positive recognition of Runoko's work because he brought in Asia, which we usually don't consider an important part of the African experience. And then he was able to go to all of these institutions and film. No one has been able to go into these great institutions and have a photographic record of the importance of African peoples. He was able to stand tall and knock me off my feet when we brought hundreds of us together for a great conference in Dakar, Senegal. And the conference was led and managed by the president of Senegal, President Wade. But he, in handling this conference, which included heads of state, was about to make a presentation and represent about the people represented to make their presentations. And his aide-de-camp came to him and gave him a note that, Mr. President, there are 8 presidents waiting at the airport for you to welcome them to Senegal and this great activity. And so he looked at it, and then he had to make a decision. And he made a decision. I'll be with you in a moment. And he made this quick decision to call upon our brother Runoko to be the person who chaired the conference. I almost fell out of my seat because if someone had come to me and and I didn't know that I was supposed to lead this great conference, I might have been stumbling and stuttering and whatnot. Runoko stepped to the plate. He stepped to the plate, accepted the leadership of this international conference, and then hit a grand slam. There was no hesitation. There was no limitation. He just stood where he needed to be at the head of the class, knocking in the big blow. And so we really have to appreciate how the Creator and the ancestors allowed him to have a glorious moment and presence among us. And so I really had more than appreciation for his work because he didn't have all the associations that we had. ASCAC, Association for the Study of Classical African Heritage Studies Association. We formed in the 80s the conference on melanin. And so, but Runoko was out there in the field doing battle over this enormous truth of who and what we are. So I'll have the greatest appreciation of his work. And I'll be able to, when I talk about Cheikh Anta Diop, and this is one of the great works of one of our greatest minds, the Imhotep of his time. This is the compilation of the work of Cheikh Anta Diop done by his son, his oldest son, Mbaki. And he has compiled his father's story and the other great contributions he made with other great Africans, leading the way for Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop was a mentor family, Madame Diop and Alioune Diop. And it was Madame Diop and Alioune Diop that led the forces to allow Sheikh Anta to have his day in front of the world. And 150 scholars were called together, mainly whites, to listen to Sheikh Anta make his statement to the world. And he did, and they awarded him his doctorate. So it's the family and relationship to each other that is the key. And Runoko was one of our grand masters who stepped forth and made his contribution. So we'll always remember him. We'll always try to publish and republish his works. We'll always understand that he had a special, and my last comment would be this, he had a special responsibility of raising up the female within the context of Africaness and then document it. And so we have to appreciate this great brother and his work and carry on the legacy, and certainly to have his family come forth with such a terrible, deep responsibility of the final burial, and to have them speak to us across the nation is wonderful. So we have to thank HAPI, the HAPI family. We have to thank the various scholars from all over to participate in this great moment, a moment which we all will have. We'll be meeting our master, and we hope that we leave a great legacy like Runoko Rashidi has done. Dr. Clark is proud. Dr. Ben is proud. Dr. Van Sertima is proud. Dr. Asa Heard and the others are proud. The great women, Frances Cress Welsing and our great sister, Sheknut Pat Newton, they're proud that they have had this brother join them. So brothers and sisters, let's continue this great legacy that we've inherited. Let's continue to add to it. Let's inspire our young, because as we all know, it's in our hands. We can't expect anybody else to make the contribution that we have been called upon to make. Madase P. I've been instilled in Africa in the Akan tradition, and they have these deep processes of sending the spirit on. Over days, there should be celebration and sending the spirit forth until the ancestral realm is realized. Professor Swall, better than any of us, has had this experience and has mastered it, and he will be able to speak deeply on that. And of course, I've been blessed to have a partner for life for over 50 years. Don't tell nobody. She doesn't want people to know that we're among the elders, but that's the reality. And so I step aside to allow my better half to continue her great spiritual work in this field of African knowledge and understanding. Madase P, many thanks.
Ashe, thank you. Thank you, Dr. J.
I want to express my appreciation to Dr. J. It's really been a great honor for him to come on. I appreciate all the kind words, and I salute him for a lifetime of service to African people. Dr. J, I cannot thank you enough for what you've done, for what your beautiful wife has done, and for you to come on tonight to share a few words of wisdom is a great honor and something I'm never going to forget. So, Asante, brother.
All right. Madase P. In the Akan tradition, we say Madase P. That's where I've been instilled as a chief, and my wife has been. Wow. That's wonderful. To make that, bring that alive. Fantastic. Really. Wonderful.
Yes. I will, I'll now bring on Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, your beautiful wife of a few years there that you spoke about.
Greetings, happy family. This is a joyous occasion in the transition of our brother Runoko Rashidi. It's a surprise because he's at the height of all of what he was doing. It was so wonderful. In fact, I have in my hand right here his handwriting, where just a little over a month ago, he mailed me a big package. And the package had to do with some discs and lectures that he had done. And because he said he was thankful that I had been part of his webinar where he was honoring women for Mother's Day, Mother's Month, and that he wanted me to have a special place, which I did. And at the same time, he had Dr. Baina Bello, also as a special person. And on that program in the audience was Dr. Sheila Walker. And as my husband just said, he had a special spot in his heart for women. That's why he did such a big thing on Black women and the image of the Black Mary with the Black Christ child. He had come a long way, and we both had come a long way because of the opposition that we had faced. He was always talking about 1967, when by law, there was a particular law that said Australians were not human. As much as 1967, saying that they were not human. But they had done that to the so-called Hottentot, the short people, the San Twa, Enu of Southern Africa. They said that they were not human, that they were part of the animal kingdom and the plant and the mineral kingdom. And what they really meant was, like Colin Turnbull, who ran the American Museum of Natural History, that they had paranormal abilities. And what was meant as paranormal abilities was really the natural spiritual development of human beings. And it's such that if you are about genocide and killing off people, you are not natural, you are not human. And so in those days too, when he was heavily working with Australia, I was working at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in the Department of Primitive Art. So this concept of primitive was still in the front. I was hired just before they had the Treasures of Ancient Nigeria, the special exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And the big discussion that came out in the New York Times was in reference to Ekpo Eyo, who was the head of the Antiquities Department in Nigeria. And he did not like the term, our Department of Primitive Art, because he started to show on the exhibit was the classical works of Ile Ife. And those sculptures, some of them done in cast metal, were so refined until you had those two categories. One, portraiture, absolute portraiture. Of course, people had learned that from the death mask, so-called, of ancient Kemet. And so we could make that analysis between Kemet. So we have Tony Browder here, those many analyses that from Kemet to other parts of the world. And those were the days too, just afterwards, when Arthur Lewis went to Australia. Dr. Arthur Lewis in Harlem was interested in Australia. And so Runoko was on the battlefield. And I remember during those times at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Vanuatu, because it included South America, the artifacts of South America, Pacific Islands, and also Africa. And I remember preparing for an exhibition because I did curatorial work at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, as well as other very significant jobs in education, as well as in the curatorial area. And I remember going back into the stacks, looking for an African mask that I couldn't quite find. And I climbed up on a ladder and reached back because I knew something was way in the back, and touched one of the objects, the skulls from Pacific Islands. And sure enough, the skull itself had a resonance that I touched it, and the resonance came onto my hand, and I didn't know what was happening, and I went running outside the building and clapping my hands and flinging them up and giving praise to God. But we're saying that they knew things about life. They knew things about animation. That's why the Sam de Trois called God Supreme Ilana, meaning the pulling energy, that force that had to do with where science and art comes together. And certainly Runoko, in one of his exhibition talks, had exactly said that if your burial is not right, I'm looking at what I wrote from his mouth, if your burial is not right, then you cannot rest. You cannot rest. And so what does that mean? It means the same thing from ancient Kemet, that if the burial was not correct and that you had the praying for the soul to have its proper transition, that it was the case of having like lava in a cocoon, and then eventually it's treated, it has the right time, and it comes forth as a beautiful butterfly. And so this idea of transition, that our lives sometimes are full of the precariousness of living. The people in Australia died at age 30. That was the life expectancy. They had bad health due to bad water and the bad reservations and places, the bad living. So they were not their natural self all the time. And so to die in perfect rest meant you went back to the old tradition. Runoko said that they went, Felicia, you have to tell me, you didn't tell me what time I have, because I could continue a very long time talking about the science of behind what Runoko, I have these books right here, and I know what he said, and I heard the webinar, and I remember back from the old days of Blacks in Antiquity. Yeah. But anyway, the concept of transition, that we sometimes don't live our full lifespan, because part of the Infakani, part of the enslavement had to do with taking away the family system, generations of generations, as to how the soul is to be born, how it is to come into the world, what it is to do, and its protocol, its proper place, and its proper position. What should it do in old age? Beyond in the Octarianism that Leonard and I in our 80s. What should we be doing as we telescope the generations and prepare for the new lives to come? So transition was so very important. To rest, he said, to find the perfect rest. And so is to be forgiven for whatever omissions, when you did not pray when you should have prayed. You did not call on the Almighty, so vast and magnificent, inside and outside of time, in eternity, the vastness of the power of our God Supreme, like a million lions so powerful. How can you, put that in its proper perspective and have a relationship that you might rest in the power of the great lion and the power of the leopard? And so thus we have Horimaket, right? Lion body and the face. We have the Lion of Judah in Christianity, Ethiopia, so that to power to reside in a human being. That's why they misunderstood the word primitive, because there was a power that resided, and we have become dumbed down over the generations, losing some of the supernatural power that's our right, and that's a part of us. And so thus we say Hotep to each other, meaning to rest in the perfect peace, whether you're in the body or outside of the body. Imhotep is the word. Hotep Amon, Hotep for the peace. We end up saying to Hatshepsut Amon, meaning that supreme, that power of the panther, of the lion, of the leopard. Leonard says the scholar warriors. But at the same time, It's the peacefulness of a pussycat, so to speak, of something you can hold and hug. Lion-hearted means the sweetness, the heart that Runoko had for the people that he would sit day in and day out, night, palavering with them, trying to find out the secrets of their hearts and the compassion of the heart. So the beauty was like the swan, like the flamingo, like the doves, like the sweet dove. So those opposites are what we do find in the art of Kemet when we see the horror market. And so that there's so much that I can say. And so that concept of working for the Department of Primitive Art and what is primitive and the meaning we can, because of Runoko, come back and put a stamp of positiveness on all of that. And certainly let me end with his new book that was called The Black Image in Antiquity, which was another update, continuous work from what he had done with Ivan Van Sertima, Black Women in Antiquity. Camille Yarbrough has an article, essay in here, and in here I wrote about cave art, because I had been working stronger in the cave art than Runoko, but he was always going back to show you, of course, the cave art of those areas. He said that, and inside I show you images of birth, the woman that gives birth. Well, I won't be going to take too much more time, but I have the image in cave art. There she is, the woman. You can see the lines coming from her pregnancy, from her body, the new energy life that forms the mountains and the hills upon which all of mankind begins to walk. So that he said that the people in Australia said, we're not African, because they weren't so much into Africa proper itself. They said we were the original. So therefore, when we say the Psalm, the Torah, the polygenesis, that polygenesis must include Australia and other parts of the world where we were indeed baptized to come forward, and our God was pulling energy, magnetic power. So Runoko, rest in peace. Hotep, we say to you. We say Hotep, Imhotep to you. We say Hotep Amon. Peace, peace. Transition into the greater peace.
Thank you. Ashe. Ashe, Dr. Jeffries. Next, we are going to bring in Michael Imhotep. He has a few minutes before he needs to leave. So we're going to bring him in and pay his respects. Thank you again, Dr. Jeffries.
Hey, thank you, Felicia and Dr. Rosalind Jeffries and Dr. Leonard Jeffries, everybody else, Hotep. I can stay for a few more minutes. My show doesn't start at 9 p.m., so I can stick around if you want me to. But I wanted to say a few words about Runoko. I've known Runoko for about 11 years. And I first met him probably through Minister Malik Shabazz here in Detroit. Minister Malik Shabazz brought in a number of scholars, African-centered scholars, to speak here in Detroit over the years. And Runoko was one of the ones he brought the most. And I first met Runoko back in about 2010. And when I got the news of his passing, I reached out to Tony Browder, reached out to Professor James Small, who's one of my teachers. Dr. J is one of my teachers also. But I was going back through my archives of interviews, and I had forgotten Runoko was one of my first interviews back in 2010 when I started the African History Network show. I had totally forgotten that he was one of my first interviews. So I was going back through and I was listening to some of the interviews I had done with them, and then I was going through my files, and I have a file folder on Runoko articles that he wrote for AtlantaBlackStar.com. Runoko wrote a number of articles for AtlantaBlackStar.com back in like 2014, dealing with all different aspects of African history, everything from the Moors and Saint Maurice. This one right here is one of my favorite articles that Runoko wrote. It's called Moors, Saints, Knights, and Kings, the African Presence in Medieval and Renaissance Europe. Okay, this is one of my favorite articles that he wrote. And this also ties into one of my favorite books that he wrote, Black Star, the African Presence in Early Europe. Okay, and I actually interviewed him about this book in 2014, and I read it to prepare for my interview with him, and the book just blew my mind. This is another really good article that he wrote, in it came out September 14th, 2014, Before Enslavement, Africa's Ancient Diaspora. This is for AtlantaBlackStar.com. Before Enslavement, Africa's Ancient Diaspora. He wrote articles dealing with Africans in Asia as well. We know about his book, African Star Over Asia, the Black Presence in the East. But he also wrote articles dealing with Africans in Asia. So one of the things that I remember about Runoko is that everybody knows he's a world traveler, okay? And according to his bio at his website, drrunoko.com, it said he had been to 124 countries and islands. I thought it was like about 135, maybe it's about 135, but I know he took something like 35,000, 40,000 photographs. But this brother he documented the African presence all around the world. And I got to see a number of his lectures in person here in Detroit because of Minister Malik Shabazz. I got to see a number of his lectures in person. And he would show you all these photographs of all around the world, and you got to see African people everywhere, okay? And one of the things that I think is important to understand about Runoko is he loved African people all around the world. He was a Pan-Africanist, but he also wanted to use his work to uplift African people. So he wasn't into things that divided us. He wasn't into labels that divided us. He wasn't into debates, a lot of this other stuff. He was into the upliftment of African people, and he loved Black women. He loved African women, and he talked about how Black men need to marry Black women. He was for strong Black families, strong African families. He was for Black men marrying Black women marrying Black men. And also there's a good article for that Herb Boyd wrote for New York Amsterdam News about Runoko after Runoko's passing. So people check that out as well. So, this is a huge loss. I remember seeing this brother. This brother spoke at the Black Homeschooling Conference in Atlanta, because I usually speak there each year. And one year, Runoko was like, I think he was the keynote speaker. So I got to see him in Atlanta as well. He also loved teaching children. He loved doing these presentations and having children come to the presentations and ask questions and things like this and opening their minds. So this is a big loss. It's took us totally by shock. The past few days on my radio show, I've been talking about Runoko and educating people about him as well. So I just want to say hotep to the family, hotep to his family as well. And we need to honor this brother, remember him, study his works as well, support. Hopefully they'll keep putting his works out on his website. So support that work as well, and educate our children on Dr. Runoko Rashidi as well. So I'll leave it there. Hotep.
Thank you. Oh, yes, I'm unmuted. Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
I haven't worked with him to the same extent, but I've lectured with him. I admire him. James Small, Leonard Jeffries, who is to me is the patriarch of African scholars today. There in Washington, D.C., my good brother, Tony Browder, who's doing something remarkable with those excavations, historic. So yeah, I'm in good company, man.
Okay, next we're going to bring in Professor James Small. Please, oh, I got to unmute you. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Hotep, peace and blessings to everyone. The one thing I don't want to say is that this is a great loss, because we haven't lost anything. Runoko came for what he came for, and he did what he came to do. And it was time to go. That makes us sad, because we are used to having him, that house that he lived in, that body, and the energy that emanated from that house that we call him. But the Yoruba had a word for this, have a word, it's called aloha. We come and we go. And it says every being has an aloha, a coming and going 7 times to perfect themselves, to become the perfect being, and to leave a mark on humanity for eternity. So I must assume, given Runoko's work, he had attained the 7th coming and going, because the mark that he left on humanity is indeed eternal. No one in the history of the world have pulled off what Runoko Rashidi pulled off. To cover, there are 130 something countries, more than 100 museums, documenting the human geography and presence of Africans globally, using photography as his primary essay tool to present our story in a way no one had done before. He's like J.A. Rogers on steroids, you know? And one can only say, like, thank you, Runoko. Thank you for actually spending as much time as you did to produce the body of work that you produced that has no equal, because that was your assignment. That was your aloha. You came, you made an agreement with the ancestors and with the divine, which our culture says is the way it goes, that we declare our destiny before we get here. And sometimes we lose that. And when you fulfill your destiny, you're at the level of perfection, and you become an example for all of those who now live. We call that Orisha. But we sometimes misunderstand our own traditions. So Runoko is an Orisha now. His modeling, his exempling is one that needs to be emulated and mimicked for the rest of eternity by our people. The contribution on history that he's left, no one has pulled that off. We haven't really appreciated yet what this guy pulled off in 67 short years, you know, less than that, because in his youth and his teen years, he wasn't doing this. He was getting ready to do this. So I don't know how long I've known him. We were both very young, no gray hair anywhere, no wrinkles. He was working with Dr. Ben Sertima when I met him, and just watch him do his mission was impressive, extraordinary. And so we will indeed miss you, but you've left us a body of work that is going to take lifetimes for people to really sift through and study. But it's a museum and it's a library of photographs, of images, and of commentary that will help our people find themselves, as Dr. Clark say, on the world geography again. And so you are now with the ancestors. If they see fit, you will move from ancestor to the yet unborn, and then again become the unborn. To go through the cycle again of being a child, being an adolescent, being a young adult, being an adult, being a junior elder, being an elder, and again, as you've just crossed, become an ancestor who, if we need you, will again become the unborn to come back and further the work that you have already given to us. Or even more powerfully, you become that perfect being, that Orisha, for us to study and imitate and emulate generation after generation after generation, looking at your body of work. So peace and blessings, travel safely, tell the ancestors what we're going through down here. I know you can tell them what some of the forces we're going to need to be born and come back to help us out of our situation. I know they're going to be a joyful time in Orun. That's the ancestral realm. They're going to be throwing parties to you. They may even have some ganja up there to celebrate you. You done broke all the rules, brother. So thank you, Runoko. Thank you. We love you. We love you. We love you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Hotep, everyone, and just wanted to say thank you to all those who've been a part of this thus far. We've been posting information in regards to supporting Runoko's family and the ongoing effort, and also to support his legacy. Please take this opportunity to capture this information, and whatever you can support financially on any level, please donate to the cause of Runoko's legacy and to his family to make sure that things are done correctly. We appreciate that. Dua Madase. So I guess we can announce the next person. I'm going to bring in Nana Camille Yarbrough to share her thoughts and feelings on Brother Runoko Rashidi.
Yes, in one moment,
A good friend of ours, also Camille Yarbrough, has an article.
Exactly.
In an app as well. But no, it's a fantastic.
I love Camille Yarbrough.
Yeah, she's been a huge supporter from day one, from times of the Nubia documentary, the Tekken, and she's traveled with me to Kemet several times. But I'm definitely one of the great elders who supported the path and the work that we've done.
She's traveled with you to Kemet several times?
Yes.
Wow, my brother.
Yeah,
lucky
she's
you, man.
Lucky me.
No, she's a powerful and she's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're blessed.
We're gonna have her on the show soon.
Okay. All right.
Definitely gonna have her on.
Okay. Miss Nana. Oh, I'll mute you. There you go, Miss Nana Yarbrough.
I first met Runoko Rashidi at a lecture series called the First World Alliance, which was held every week in Harlem for years. Sister Kefa and her husband organized it and kept it going, and Runoko would come there and speak. And when he was there, I was observing him, how he related to especially Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben. But it was, sometimes you can touch love, not a person, but it's in the air around them. Later on, I had an opportunity to sponsor him coming and giving a presentation at the Schomburg. It was difficult because of other political kinds of positions that were being taken. But he came, and there was a small crowd, but it didn't matter. He gave all his lecture. All of it was there. And it was extensive and rich and full. And because there wasn't a full house, it didn't bother him. He could talk to one person because he has this great story to tell. I love, and my heart is in family, African family. And I remember when Sister was talking about African culture being considered primitive. When I first started dancing, the dances were called primitive dance, which means they've separated you from the context. You're out there, as the woman says, and going with the wind. You just grow. Well, no, I didn't just grow. And when I was with or talking to Runoko Rashidi, that feeling of family became intense. That the amount of work he did, the photograph, the vastness of his catalog will nourish us for centuries. It's unending because each item, each photograph has story, has history, has rituals, has everything that is traditionally African, the wisdom. There's a proverb that says, not to know your family story is bad, but not to want to know it is worse. And that's where our brother came in, because his soul, his heart wasn't telling the great African story. And I really appreciate his appreciation for sisters, because we need it in this world. And he certainly did. He not only in his books, but in his lectures and everything he said, he always managed to say about the African mother, the African woman. And so this is, my heart was there when I embraced him and had him come, invited him, and he came to the Schomburg Library. Dr. Ben was there because he was there. In a wheelchair, Dr. Ben came. Sister Kefa came in a wheelchair, but they came because Runoko was there. We have been so blessed by the Creator. That's why sometimes I'm walking down the street saying thank you. Just thank you. At my age, with whatever is happening, all of us are at that stage now where we're going through changes. But we have been blessed because we have been those who went out and captured our story, and we are helping to save our people, helping to save the world, helping to save humanity, because we're bringing to them the depth of witness from our people and the power of our love. So thank you, HAPI family, for sponsoring, for bringing this together. You are doing it too, because you're bringing the visuals, just like Runoko did. It wasn't just in words and books, but it's the character of the people, how we act, how we relate one to the other. I want to send my blessings and my love and my comfort to his family. I did not realize at first that they were on the program. And I know the sorrow of his leaving us physically, but they know him personally. They know the stories of the young boy, the young brother, the growing up, his relationship with his daughter, who he spoke about so often and with such love. Thank you, Runoko, brother man. There's so much to be said. We'll say it. Thank you, HAPI, for inviting me to be part of this. And I have thoroughly enjoyed everything that has been said before by the speakers who are here. It's all part of our story. Not to know your story is bad, not to want to know it is worse. So we are taking care of business and telling it. Thank you, Badasi.
Thank you. Thank you. Ashe. Ashe. Next, we're going to bring up Mr. Robin Walker.
Greetings, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, greetings to everyone. Greetings to the family. Greetings to the esteemed scholars gathered here. I'm in London, and what I want to talk about is the kind of impact that Dr. Rashidi had in London. In the early 90s, we in London enthusiastically bought Ivan van Sertima's books, where Rashidi contributed essays, and we would discuss them. And when Van Sertima tasked Rashidi to edit the book, The African Presence in Early Asia, that book was a game changer. The images of Black people in places like India, the images of the Black Buddha, these were things that we had never seen. And that book was astonishing. And what happened is my tutor, the great Dr. Femi Biko, was part of a kind of underground Black studies scene. Black studies at the time did not exist in any of the British universities. So you had people teaching university level material in Black community centers. And my tutor, Dr. Femi Biko, was doing that. And one of the books that he insisted on using was The African Presence in Early Asia. And so for us, Rashidi kind of achieved already a legendary status. And what then happened was some of his work was published in London by Karnak House. And what happened was they brought him over. And of course, many of us went to go and see Rashidi and were just impressed by the images he was showing, by his ability to teach, the wit, the humor, the ability to connect to people, and the ability to break down very, very complex history into very, very simple bite sizes. Now, how that impacted on me was ultimately I created a Yahoo chat room called African Classical History. And Rashidi actually joined it, and some of his trips, he would then advertise them on that forum. And in the year 2011, when my book, When We Ruled, was published in America by Black Classic Press, he graciously wrote the introduction to the book. And that leads me to my most enduring memory of Rashidi. And he then sent me an email. And this is what the email said. "Greetings, brother. How goes it? Books of Africa is publishing a new work on mine, The African Presence in Early Europe. It should be out within a couple of months. I wonder if you might want to supply a brief preface. I realize that it is very late notice as I would need it immediately. But it would be great to have someone in Europe, and you in particular, to add a front piece. When I say immediately, I'm talking about 2 or 3 days max. Get back to me. Thanks, Runoko." So there it is. He gave me 2 to 3 days to write a preface for his book. Okay, what's happened since then? Well, I work for an education charity in South London called Croydon Supplementary Education Project. And Rashidi's visited us on several occasions. He's done lectures for us. And he was, as ever, brilliant, charming, engaging, and very able to break information down into very, very simple bite size. And, you know, we love his work, we respect his work, and all I can say is salute the brother and, you know, rest in power. All right, thank you all. Thank you for arranging this event to honor Dr. Rashidi, and big up, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Thank you. Thank you. Next, we are going to bring on Mr. Hunter Adams after this short little video clip.
Yeah, Brother Taki, let me just say one more thing, and I tell Karak this all the time, and I want to emphasize it again and again and again. It's very important that the community see us working together.
Yes.
And not at each other's throats, not cutting each other down, not rivals, not competitors, but we're all in this together. And if you want glory and fame, you can take that too. But the key is for the community, especially those of us talking about Ma'at and Hotep, and the negative confessions, to be able to work and actually like each other and appreciate, love each other, and build each other up, and to be able to see the bigger picture. That is so critical.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Let me jump in.
Yes. Professor Adams? Okay, so we're having a bit of technical problems right here with Professor Adams. We're going to have him sign out and sign back on. But in the meantime, we're going to bring on Mr. Anthony Browder. after this short video.
You know, I consider Anthony my Karak, my big brother. And I think he feels the same way about me. We support each other on every level. We are not competitors. We are truly brothers. We are proud of each other. We support each other. We believe in each other. And we think that both of us are doing important things in our own way. See, everybody's not going to do the same thing, but everybody can do something. Yes. And all of those things are important. And so, yeah, Tony Browder's, he the guy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Tony Browder. I can find him on the screen. Where are you at, Tony? Okay, hold on. We have so many of our illustrious panel people on here. It's I have a tad bit difficulty finding him. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, Tony, I'm going to have you.
I'm looking at you, Felicia. I can see you.
Yes, you're hiding. There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
So I want to thank HAPI, the team at HAPI, for facilitating this tribute to our brother and for all the programs that you've done over the last year with Runoko and a host of other scholars bringing their names forward. In the clip that you just showed, Runoko said, "I'm the guy." Well, Runoko is and will always be the man. Runoko is the man. There will never be another person, another brother, another man like Runoko. He was truly unique and did a job that was required to help transform our consciousness. I've had the pleasure of knowing Runoko for about 33 years, and we traveled in Africa to Ghana in 2003, and in 2016, I made a trip to Sudan with Runoko, which gave us an extended amount of time together to talk and get to know each other even better. And Runoko has always been one of my constant supporters, specifically with regards to the Asa Restoration Project. You know, the Jeffries, Small, Hunter Adams have always, supported the work that I'm doing with this excavation and talked about it publicly wherever they were. Runoko has done that extensively. And as we grew closer together as a result of our mutual admiration for each other and our work as historians, our work as study tour leaders, our work as fathers, we began to bond more and more. And I talked with him about going to our site. Runoko had not visited our site in South Asasif, where we're 13 years into excavating and restoring what started off 13 years ago as 3 tombs, has now blossomed into 9 tombs, 9 25th Dynasty tombs that we are restoring. So I was so looking forward to Runoko visiting our site. Actually, tomorrow, we had made arrangements for everything to happen. And now that he has transitioned, I've been in contact with people in his study tour, and they will actually go to our site 8 o'clock tomorrow morning to visit the site. And we made arrangements for a very special tribute to Runoko, which will take place tomorrow at our site in South Asasif. So we are going to honor Runoko, and as we make preparations to funeralize him and lift him up as an honorable ancestor, there will be other tributes to him. And 2 things that I can share, actually 3 things I want to share with you now. Runoko, myself, and practically everybody on this call, all the scholars on this call, have been a guest on the Carl Nelson Show on WOL, which is an international radio program that's broadcast from here in Washington, D.C. And we did a 3-hour tribute to Runoko this past Thursday. And I placed on Carl the responsibility of honoring Brother Runoko by maintaining his tradition of study and to help prepare our replacements. So we're going to be working with Carl Nelson and the WOL family to establish what I will call now tentatively the Runoko Rashidi Study Group. We will help him set up a time frame where once a month, members of the larger WOL family will read a book, and we will have a discussion one day of the month. We will have a discussion of that book, and we will honor the spirit of Runoko Rashidi as we engage in that activity. So that's one thing that we're doing to honor his memory, his legacy in perpetuity. The second thing that we're doing is 13 years ago, I established the Asa Restoration Project to honor the memory of my dear brother, colleague, friend, Asa Hilliard, who passed in Egypt on the 13th of August after having come to Egypt after having done a study tour to Ghana. Fast forward, that was 14 years ago on the 13th. And then on Monday, we got the word that our brother Runoko passed in Egypt after having done a trip to Ghana. So the parallels between the passing, the transitioning of these two brothers in Egypt has not gone unnoticed by me. And just as we established the Asa Restoration Project to honor Asa Hilliard in Luxor, Egypt, we are going to do something specifically for Runoko Rashidi in Luxor. I've got a couple of details I need to work out, but once those details are finalized, we will let all of you know how we will honor the memory of Runoko in Luxor, Egypt. And then lastly, on Father's Day, Runoko and I did a brother-to-brother Zoom conversation, which was extremely well received. And we made a commitment to do a second webinar that was going to be broadcast on Eventbrite on the 22nd of August, where Runoko and I would come back to talk about the travels that we made during the course of the summer and just give all the participants an update on what we've done, where we are now, and where we are going to be going over the course of the next few months and years. Well, since Runoko has passed, we are going to reformat that program on August the 22nd as a tribute to Runoko, and we'll be sharing some information with you and the HAPI family within the next day or two. We have a couple of things we need to move around. And because of the fact that this program on the 22nd was going to be an Eventbrite program, we were charging $30, and Runoko and I had planned to split the proceeds among ourselves. I had a conversation with my daughter Atlantis last night, and what we're going to do is to donate 80% of the proceeds to Runoko's daughter. So we're going to be finalizing those details, and we'll get information out to everyone shortly. So we are going to miss Runoko dearly. And one of the ways that we can show how much we loved what he did in life is to honor his memory in the afterlife, honor his memory as an ancestor. So we would do everything within our power to lift his name up, to see to it that the world knows the legacy of Runoko Rashidi. We would do what we can to ensure that his daughter understands the great legacy that she has inherited, and to be uncles and aunties and cousins for her as she is grieving, as we all have grieved when we lost one of our parents. So I thank the HAPI family for stepping up and using this occasion to honor our brother. And I thank you all for being a part of this. And please, I noticed that Felicia did put up details on how you can make a contribution via Runoko's family. Sister Carol Strong, Runoko's younger sister, is going to be administering these funds and determining how they're going to be used. This is the only official fundraising mechanism for our brother Runoko Rashidi. So there will be other details worked out. We're very concerned about his legacy, about his publications, about his photographs, and things will be in the works to ensure his intellectual property will be properly maintained, and all of the financial remunerations from his publications, his photographs, and other things will go to his family members as they should. So we're going to be helping to make sure that that's done. And I thank all of you all for your words of comfort and support. And we lost a giant, but as has been said earlier, Runoko completed his work on the earthly plane, and he's now transitioned into the ancestral realm, where he will be a more powerful brother and will assist us at a time of need when we will need his assistance to help keep us moving forward. So thank you all very much for your time. Much thanks to the HAPI family, and we'll be sharing information about the other Runoko tributes to come very soon. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Browder. We will definitely pass on any information that you give to us, and make sure that the family gets it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's try this again with Professor Adams. Okay. Can you hear us, Professor?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, first, technical difficulties, had to use my phone. But anyway, thanks to the HAPI family for including me in this tribute. May my dear brother Runoko's family be embraced in loving kindness through these difficult days. And they are truly difficult to lose someone so dearly beloved as he was. I want to say that thank my dear elder brother, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, and Professor James Small, and to Rosalind for those very moving tributes. It's really, I was really touched by them, and particularly Rosalind, when you talked about the importance of transition. And we have to understand that the whole notion of transitional ceremonies, the first documented evidence of that took place around 300,000 years ago in Johannesburg, near Johannesburg, South Africa. And that's such a profound thing, that tradition of honoring transitions, of making meaning out of transitions of loss, is a profound African tradition which the entirety of humanity has taken up. And so thank you, dear Rosalind, for that powerful tribute. And, just to imagine 40, 50,000 pictures that Runoko took documenting the African presence, even when some people who are, quote, politically Black don't see themselves as African. And we talked about that in the last HAPI talks. He was, kind of perturbed that some people who phenotypically are darker than everyone on this call couldn't recognize their Africanity. And that speaks to the profound effect colonialism has had on the consciousness of African people and all over the world. Just a quick thing, Runoko traveled to more cities to more places and spaces around the world than most presidents and secretary of states visit. That is a phenomenal accomplishment, to travel all those different places and to bring back proof of our presence in those places. So I'm eternally indebted to him for that. I thank him for inviting me to come to Compton College in the mid 1980s to give a series of lectures with the former Olympic track star Malachi Andrews and Olympic coach. And that with, I mean, there were so many people back then, you know, on that session. But, you know, he had several conferences at Compton. They were amazing gatherings, and they led to the Melanin conferences, which really blew everything away in terms of recapturing our Africanity and making Blackness something positive. Because as Dr. Richard King said, we all have 11 centers within our brains that are Black, literally Black. So there's Blackness a part of all of us. And I thank Richard King. Runoko had Richard King there at those conferences, and it was profound. And one of the things that many people don't know, although Dr. Jeffries touched on, was at the now Jacob Carruthers Center for Inner City Studies. Runoko was there with Professor Ivan Van Sertima, with Dr. Jacob Carruthers, Dr. Anderson Thompson, and Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, and Ivan chided all of us to say that we need a journal that speaks to African contributions done by African people. And those conversations over the months led to the Journal of African Civilizations, which Runoko was one of the editors of. And that is a significant achievement that led to all kinds of scholarship of African people achievements globally. It led to my dear friend and colleague, Asa Hilliard, being asked to guide the decolonization, the desegregation of the curriculum of the Portland, Oregon school district back in the late 1980s, and led to an African-centered curriculum which spread everywhere, which spread to London and Paris and other cities. And so Runoko was instrumental in that. And I, thank him. There's many things that I want to say, but I want to conclude with a Kemetic hymn to Ma'at in her name, Kayet, which, most people aren't aware that Ma'at had another name, that is the feminine presence, she who appears in beauty. And Runoko certainly appeared as Ma'at in beauty, and the beauty that he shared of African people everywhere. And may his spirit live for eternity, because he truly was Ma'at Karu, true of voice. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Adams. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to hear some words from Taiki. Taiki, you're next.
Hotep, everyone. Peace and Black Power. This has been an interesting year for us here at HAPI. We started this process, and like we said, since we've been doing this thing, we've lost two great giants in the community. The journey with Runoko started with me just reaching out to Professor Small, asking him to give me his contact information. And I still remember the first time I called him, not knowing me from Adam. he told me to send him an email, and we started talking about him coming on the show for the first time. And the first show we did was the African presence in early America. And it got an overwhelming response. And we realized that it's something that we had to continue. And I'm just thankful that we had the opportunity to have him on the show several times. I think a total of 7 in maybe a span of like 10 months. So we wish we'd had more time to do more shows. We were actually planning to revisit that conversation in early America, Dr. Runoko and I. We also even talk about doing some filming together, some other major projects we were planning on working on kind of behind the scenes. Very thankful though we had the opportunity to do the last show. I think this is the last interview anyone did with him with the presentation on Nubia. So very honored to have him here with us and HAPI that night. But just speaking of the overall connection between the family connection that we have here on this panel and how we connected to Dr. Runoko Rashidi through Professor James Small and also Anthony Browder, because I believe when he got the call from me, he started doing some research and he spoke to Anthony Browder and he was like, yeah, you know, this is something you should do. And he became a part of it, but if it wasn't for the family connection, I don't know if anything would happen. So moving forward, we need to understand the importance of that, honoring our elders and understanding the importance of family here. I think everyone on this panel obviously understands that. And people in the audience need to really get that and understand what we call heartbeat props here. Give these elders their respect and their due and their flowers now. It's extremely important that we do this. Right now we have on the screen ways to support, again, his family in the ongoing effort to help with his transition. Please take this opportunity. You have the Cash App. You also have several PayPal emails, as well as Zelle. Anthony Browder mentioned it before. This is the only way, legitimate way, goes to his general sister Carol, who was on in the show in the beginning of the program. It's very important that we donate to this and we help the brother's family and also help continue his legacy. Please, family, do that. There's also the image that was posted online the other day. For those who have not seen this, take a screenshot. It will be on the program for you to see later on. But please support Dr. Runoko Rashidi. That's it for me. Dua, peace. I turn it back over to you, Sister Felicia.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We're just going to go ahead and, I'm sorry, we're going to go ahead and remove this. 1 second. Okay. So I just want to just share a few thoughts that I had about just getting to know Dr. Rashidi. A lot of times when we sit on this side of every day and we're bringing in elders and scholars, we're so happy, okay, that they said yes to us. And I remember the first time I was literally, you know, talking to Dr. Rashidi, and I was trying to explain to him how to get on. And it's so interesting, as when we started, our first show with him was September 10th. And once we started with him, and he was trying to figure out everything, by the next show, he was ready. He was like, oh, I know how to share my own pictures, you know. And one of the things that I just really appreciate, and everyone on this panel, is that, you know, he didn't let technology stop him. He learned something and then he took it and ran with it, which was, you know, it's so beautiful to see. But also, you know, Dr. Rashidi was a very funny man. And I think about all the things that he said when you know, go back, and we're going to send out to everyone who subscribed to our newsletter, we're going to send out a special edition for Dr. Runoko Rashidi, where we, you know, have all the videos that he's done with us 7 times. So you get to sit and watch him, and you laugh, and you wonder, you start questioning what it is that you need to be doing here in life. And I think one of the things that I can't remember who said it on this illustrious panel was, you know, that we have to continue the work. So it's, you know, it's the baton has been switched hands to everyone that's listening to this, everyone that's viewing this, is that, you know, there's something that everybody can do, because like he said, everyone has to do something. So just thank you. And thank you, Ms. Strong, for being able to get on this call so early, you know, with your loss. Thank you so much. And please, family, please make sure that you are supporting Dr. Rashidi's family, his legacy, because he had an incredible amounts of information that need to be, you know, disseminated to all of us. So please, all the information is down there. I will keep putting it into the chat, and please just support. So we have one more quick tribute to Dr. Rashidi. I see Brother King Simon has entered the studio. Sorry, hold on. Okay, we have so many people. I'm gonna have to remove.
Yeah, I'll come out, Felicia. You can bring them in.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay.
Greetings. Greetings. Hotep to the family. Hotep to the family. How are you?
Hello. I was trying to, you know, there we go. All right.
It's an honor to be amongst, and I have to say to my elders, will you allow me to speak, please?
Please.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to say, of course, thank you to the family. Thank you to HAPI family. Thank you to the family of Baba Runoko Rashidi. And as one of the young soldiers that brought him in for my anniversary in 2018, amongst the gathering of the elders, I had him, Baba, of course, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, and of course, Baba Professor Smalls on that esteemed dais that time at the St. Francis College, which is a Jesuit college, like Professor, like Dr. Jeffries let us know. So, you know, but he himself was so honored to be amongst him. He even said to me, brother, I am so honored that I kept my word. He wrote it on his page that I kept my word. I was I followed all the way through, and that's what us younger brothers need to do when you're bringing in. Because I'm a producer, I'm a promoter for many years, and I've worked with a lot of different people. Mostly a lot of people here. Haven't worked with the brother Anthony Browder yet, and of course Robin Walker yet. But I have worked with Camille, Sister Camille, and all the great ones. And of course I haven't worked with brother Michael, but in that level. But it is so, you know, Brother Rashidi was such a was so dedicated, because before our lecture that day on November the 11th, 2018, that portal was open. He went to the Brooklyn Museum to go get some more information to put into his lecture, which is so interesting to me. And it just showed me his dedication as an elder. And of course, his birthday coming up in the next few days. We need to show some love and honor to that Earth Day that he came through his mother and his father, his mother's womb predominantly, but he came from his mom and dad. And we got to show that love on August the 16th. That is his Earth Day. And I remember when he was on the interview with Taki, and I said his birthday is coming up soon. So let's acknowledge his birthday, his Earth Day coming in. And, you know, I'm the numbers man when it comes to numerology. So I love to acknowledge our elders, Earth Strong and all that. And what is so interesting, he was so happy to see a lot of young people come out that day at St. Francis College in Brooklyn. I believe I was the last to bring him in Brooklyn to do a lecture. And, you know, he was so elated that he came and gave me a big hug. He gave me 2 of his calendars. He gave me some information, just gave me stuff just to encourage me to keep on doing what I'm doing. And I just wanted to come on here briefly and send my love to all of you out there and all the great elders out there, and thank all of you for participating. And thank you, HAPI, for making this happen as usual. Thank you very much. Hotep.
Thank you, King Simon. Okay. Okay, family, we are going to do something very quickly. Well, I don't know if I can ever say quickly with us, but what we want to do is just open up the phone lines. If anyone in the chat wants to call in and pay their pay their respects and say a short story, or just comment about what Dr. Rashidi has meant to them. I'm gonna put the phone number up. There we go. So if you can just, you can call in, and we will, go ahead and let you, speak for a couple minutes. If anyone on the panel needs to leave, feel free, to go ahead and leave. I know it's been a long show, but this is for a great man. So I thank you guys all in advance for staying here. Thank you. And if you have anything to say while we're waiting for our first phone call, you can feel free to speak. And one thing I will say while we're waiting is that Dr. Runoko Rashidi, let me tell you, I was talking to Mr. Browder about this later, and I was just like, he was such a nice man, and Mr. Browder was like, yeah, he was a good brother. And what I meant by that was that, a lot of times when we're dealing, with people, we're trying to, get things done. I would always check in with him, or he would check in with me afterwards. Similar to Brother Small does, to make sure, did I hit everything? What do I need to do? And this and that. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about Dr. Rashidi. And the other piece is that when you asked him for something, he would, stop what he's doing. He would, try to find the picture. He would try to find whatever it was, and he got it to you right away. He took his role here on earth very seriously, which is just a lesson for young people, to really take from. That he was definitely a man of his word. And those webinars that he would put on at the end of each month, they're priceless. His extensive knowledge and really documenting the African presence. Like I think, I can't remember who said it before, is that we don't really know what we've been missing. Until a couple of days later, and we really sit back and we're going to really see his contribution to us. So, I thank him for that.
Yes, Sister Felicia. Charles wants to say some words. I guess Dr. J is about to switch spots. Let Charles come on and give a testimonial to Dr. Runoko Rashidi.
Okay. Go ahead, Charles.
Hotep and greetings, family. I just wanted to make sure that I came on not just to represent myself, but to represent the sons of Africa. I'm sure if my big brother Reggie Mabry was here, he would definitely have a few words. But first, before I begin, I have permission to continue from the elders.
Yes, brother.
Doc is over on the side. So the reason that I wanted to make, I always come in and interject and input myself in this, right? But as a son of Africa, I'm one of those in the generation who for the last 30 plus years have been working with all of these elders. And every time that we bury, every time one of them dies, we are the ones that bury them. So I wanted to make sure that I speak as a son of Africa on behalf of my brothers to his family, to give them my condolences or our condolences, to say to the African family that if you truly love Runoko Rashidi, you should do the things that our elder Mfudishi Jehumes tells us. Continue to speak his name, continue to uplift his great works, continue his great works, and add on to them. And that is the way that we will truly honor Runoko Rashidi. I also wanted to just briefly read, and then I'm going to get off. I made us put a statement on Facebook for the family, and I know that Doc was out of town, and some of you may not have read it, so I want to read it to the African family. The world African community is in mourning at the loss of this good and great brother, scholar, seeker, and prover of truth. Runoko taught us how fundamental Africans were to human development everywhere on this planet, and showed us visual evidence of our presence everywhere on this planet. Runoko took the mission of Joel Augustus Roger, author of the multi-volume works World's Great Men of Color and Sex and Race, as well as From Man to Superman and others, to the next level, where Roger was only able to provide drawings, daguerreotypes, and black and white photos at best. Runoko crossed the world with his camera and brought back full color photographs of black folks in India, Australia, Japan, Cambodia, black folks in the Philippines, China, Egypt / Kemet, Iran, Iraq, black folks in Europe, early Europe, not modern day immigrants fleeing poverty, but there as discoverers, civilization builders, educators, governors, church leaders, favorites of king and queens, and one or two even kings or queens themselves. Black folks in Mexico, Honduras, Belize, Brazil, black folks in the Americas, before they were called the Americas, before a single slave master bastard of Spanish, French, Dutch, Portuguese, German, English, Jewish, Muslim, Catholic, or Protestant descent set foot on the soil of Africa, the Americas, or any of the Caribbean islands. We were here, and Runoko showed us. He showed us, who we really were in the world, for all eyes to see, right there, right in your face. Bam! All his presentation, at his presentations, adults' eyes would open wide with wonder, as wide as those of a child with a new Christmas toy. I've seen it, and I felt it myself. Hundreds, or I should say thousands, of full-color slides of his travels, and he shared them gleefully, happily, with his beloved African people. And he was humble. To tell you the truth, I don't think he knew how valuable his contributions truly were, how valuable to us he was. He reminds me of another great man I knew, Professor Edward Scobie, and now both are ancestors. I pray that his good friend, Professor Ivan Van Sertima, was waiting at the gates of the African heaven to greet him and usher him into the ballroom with Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Shashi McIntyre, Dr. Asa Hilliard, Dr. Ben, J.A. Rogers, and his hero Marcus Garvey, and thousands more African scholars, warriors, heroes, and sheroes were waiting for him to begin the celebration. Runoko Rashidi, Ibaye. Runoko Rashidi, Ibaye. Runoko Rashidi, Ibaye. Thank you, family. May his soul rest in power.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank
you very much for that.
Thank you.
So we're going to do something we haven't done here on Happy Talks, and that's bring in a few callers. We put the number on the screen. We have some people waiting. Give the family an opportunity to express themselves online. And go with our first caller here. Caller, who say your name, please. Who do we have online with us?
Brother Kenneth.
Everyone can hear Brother Kenneth. All right, Brother Kenneth, go ahead. Speak to what's on your mind.
Hotep, brother. Hotep family. I just wanted to talk about Bob Runoko for a brief minute. You know, I moved out to L.A. from New York a while back, about 10 years ago. And I remember meeting Bob Runoko at the Koresh Center. And he was giving a lecture there. And he was the type of brother that, you know, after the lecture, anybody could really walk up and he'd gladly have a conversation with you. And I come out of the tech ecosystem. I'm an engineer, and I remember looking at some of the pictures, saying, you know, what were you using to capture your photography? He talked about having an older camera, and I said, you know, you can get some sharper pictures using an HD camera if you had access to one. He said that you know, that would of course be nice. And I had recently bought a Canon D700. I was really looking forward to upgrading myself. And I can recall bringing the camera in, still in the package, and giving it to Baba so that he could take it out on the road with him when he captured his pictures. We would often talk about him embracing technology more, and so that he could reach a wider audience. I can remember the early days of the Facebook groups where he would communicate with students using text. And I would talk to him about graduating from that to Zoom, and I was happy to see him starting to embrace that. I can remember asking him about sharing his pictures with a larger audience and him being concerned about people taking his work. And I had talked to him about watermarking his pictures and coming up with ways to be able to facilitate that, and receiving thousands of pictures from him and batch processing them in software to be able to watermark it, and then helping him along with Sister Teresa and Althea to put together that calendar that came out. But I say all that to say that you know, he's going to be sorely missed. One of the things that I've been mulling around is a way to create a platform so that not only his work, but then all the work of all of our scholars can be used along with technology to reach a global audience, so that while we can be the ones that tell our story, you know, we can broaden and widen the folks that can receive that on a global scale. Appreciate the time. Okay.
Just want to say thank you, Brother Kenneth, for all the work you did with the elder ancestor, Dr. Runoko Rashidi. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing that. Peace.
Thank you.
We have another call on. Please say what your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Carol Johnson, and I'm calling from North Carolina.
Hi, Carol Johnson. Anything you want to share with the family today?
Yes, I was really, Dr. Runoko Rashidi's death has really hurt me a lot, because I had the pleasure of speaking with him the whole month of March. I reached out to him. I had had surgery, and so I was healing and resting, and really thinking about my life and how I wanted to change my life. So I reached out to Dr. Runoko on Facebook, and he responded, and I was just blown away that he responded. He took the time to talk with me, and after we talked, I was just so pleased. And I said to him, Dr. Runoko, thank you for taking time to talk with me. I am thrilled to infinity to have one of the greatest historians in my time take the time to talk with me about future goals and ideas. And I remember years ago being invited to one of your lectures in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. And I'll never forget sitting in the auditorium and seeing him show images on screen of the human family, people that look like me in Australia, Africa, the Caribbean, Asia, all across the diaspora. He was such a great person to talk to. And I just feel the loss, and I can only imagine what his family is going through. But I was so glad that I connected with him, and I was able to let him know how he touched my life, and my life has changed since I've connected with Dr. Rashidi, and I'll never forget him.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. We appreciate that. Thank you for sharing your experiences with Dr. Runoko Rashidi, and we appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ataki, I just wanted to mention that I spoke with Teresa Dobson. That was Dr. Rashidi, his confidant, his assistant, and she wanted to let the family know how deeply she loved Baba and how she would do everything she needed to continue his legacy, and to thank you all for the outpours of love and admiration. That's from Teresa Dobson. Did you have any more callers?
Yeah, there's maybe one more, but I just wanted to give opportunity for people on the panel to kind of, if they want to say something else, something that they feel additionally they want to share. Right now would be a great time if they have anything they want to share.
Hello.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Okay. Illustrious panel. Oh, okay, let me unmute you there. There you go, Brother Small.
Yeah. You know, these occasions, and especially at many of our age, are going to be even more frequent. And all of us have been out here a long time. We all know each other. And so we must seek the opportunity to take the wisdom that we've learned about what this thing is called death, so that we can move in the right way with the energy. Europeans say death as a finality, that life has ended. There is not a single African culture where the thing we call death means an ending of life. And we got to stop saying it. We have to make sure we tell our people so that they mean it and begin to know it and begin to understand it. That this thing called life is eternal. It is a process, and our ancestors outlined it. They outlined the ceremony when a baby is born. 3 days after the baby is born, that baby's purpose is acknowledged. On the 8th day, that baby is introduced to the community with a name that represents that purpose. And everyone in the community realized we must raise this child towards the fulfillment of that goal. And as an adolescent, we bring them through the major rites of passages, where we teach them to become a strong, developed adult so that they can finish that work they've decided to do. And as we go through the process I mentioned earlier, adulthood, eldership, the greatest rites of passage of all, and one of the most beautiful rites of passage, is that of the transition that we call death, where we go from the house of matter that we lived in and gave all those experiences to the world, back to the energy that dictated the purpose of the house in the first place. And as we merge with the eternal energy that we call Ra or Oludumare or Sogbe Lisa or whatever name, Aman, at some point, that energy becomes the unborn and the born again. And in an African tradition of reincarnation, and all of our traditions have reincarnation as a part of it, in our tradition, we always come back in the family we originally incarnated in on earth. So Runoko will come back as one of his nieces or nephews or even his own grandchildren or great-grandchildren one day, according to the science of our ancestors, which I believe completely. And so we need to have a deeper understanding of this moment of transition so that we don't get caught dwelling in the shadows of the valley of death, I call it. But we know that we went into that valley to come back to life again. And all of our cultures speak to that, from Kemet to Benin, from Ewe to Yarbrough. And so we are to express that. When we talk about the death, we are talking about the beginning, because death becomes a rebirth. And who knows, Runoko may already be back, because we don't know what house he's chosen. And if he's not, he's soon to come. So we should be looking out for his new presence. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much, Professor Small. Appreciate you dearly, always. We have a couple more people in the queue.
Sister Camille wanted to say something.
We're losing, as Brother Small said, lots of people who are in the area of educators and stuff. But years ago, when I was really performing and I was on the stage and I had a spiritual experience where the spirit ancestors came and took me on the stage, which almost made me lose my job. But after that, I said, I have to find out who was that, what was happening. And it was at that point that I called my parents and asked them who I was and asked them to send me pictures of their parents, which they did, which I have now. Okay. We need to do that more. The young people here, because some have died, especially in Africa, so many of the elders were killed or died. Young people must be encouraged to reach out to those who came before, their elders, and find out who they are. You don't have to go on television and find out your roots and all of that stuff. We have it at home, but we must encourage the young to forget all they're told about elders not liking them and all of that foolishness, but let them know that they will be enriched by getting the knowledge of those elders who are with them now before they go. Talk to grandma, talk to great grandfather, talk to those people who you see once in a while. They want to tell you. My mother wrote all kinds of things. I have here so much. I have photographed tintypes, and I'm sure other people have them too. And these young people who are walking around lost in this society, unrooted, need to be grabbed by their story. And a lot of times it's just what somebody was wearing back there. Why do you wear that? Then hook them that way and bring them in to learning more about from the people who are still here before they're gone. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nana Yarbrough. Appreciate you for that. Words of wisdom. That's for us, we feel like that's our mission here at HAPI, to make those generational connections and bridge those gaps. And we're honored to be on this glorious mission, and thank everyone for being a part of that. We have a couple people that want to say some words. I'll bring them in. Greetings, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
I'm Valerie Hutchinson. I'm calling from Florida.
Miss Hutchinson, hi, how are you? You want to share your thoughts and testimony with Dr. Runoko Rashidi?
Yes, I'll be happy to. Thank you. Greetings, beloved African family. Brother Runoko was with us.
She's listening to the radio.
Exactly.
Listening to the television.
Yeah, what it is. Could you can you mute the program behind you? She's listening to.
I'm muting right now. Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Yeah, greetings, beloved African family. I'm based mainly in Manchester in the UK. Last year, January, Brother Runoko was with us in Manchester. He had sent me a message a few weeks before saying, "Sister, I'm coming to Manchester. I'm coming to the UK. Can you organize a program in Manchester for me?" Of course, we got on it straight away. He landed in Manchester on the 9th of January, which is my birthday. It's the best birthday gift I've ever received. We took him to a Jamaican restaurant in the evening. He loved Jamaican food. And then from the restaurant, we had him on a radio show for like a question and answer call-in. He was supposed to be on the radio show for 1 hour. I believe it went on for about 1.5 hours. People were just calling and calling. They did not want him to stop speaking. After the radio show, the following day, he did a presentation at the Caribbean Center in Manchester to a packed house. People traveled from around the country to come and hear this great teacher. The session went so well, he was planning to come back in March of 2020 to Manchester. But of course, we had lockdown. We canceled that event. But I just want to say, he was loved by his UK family, not was, is. He's loved by his family in the UK. We will miss him. We will miss him like everyone else. But I'm just so grateful that we had that time with him, just grateful. And that was one of several visits that he did to the UK. But I'm grateful. Before lockdown last year, he was with us. I'll miss. He sent virtual roses to his African queens. Does anyone remember that? He would constantly post online roses to the African queen. It made us all just feel so loved and special. He never hid the fact that he loved and respected Black women, and he loved his global African family. I'm still in shock, you know. I have to admit I shed a few tears on Monday when I saw the news. And even now I'm still kind of, my voice is quavering, but I'm just grateful that he walked among us. Sincere condolences to his family, his friends, to our global African family. May the ancestors receive him with rejoicing in their powerful realm. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashe. Thank you, Ms. Hutchison. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Yes, we love the roses. Those are very special and nice. Thank you.
Greetings. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Nafisa Hope, and I'm calling from Bristol, Connecticut.
Hey, Nafisa, you want to share some words and your thoughts and testimony on Dr. Runoko Rashidi?
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. Hope all is well for everybody that's listening and reading. I'd like to first pay tribute to Professor James Small, just because he gave me a great idea as to how we should look at transitioning. And when I say that, it allows me to understand the spiritual side, the spiritual aspect of a lot of what we do. Sometimes we forget about that side. And within that, there's power. And it allowed me to just look at those who I encounter on a daily basis as a way to look at myself and how I want to be treated as well. And with Dr. Runoko Rashidi, I was able to use that in his sudden transition and say to myself, you know what, that's fine. He did his indescribable, just sacred mission, and it's time for him to leave the legacy behind so that we can continue to discuss him and discuss the efforts that he contributed to humanity in its totality. So I'm trying to make this brief because I can write, you guys. And in my mind, I know that because I am Nafisa Hope, I feel comfortable with knowing who are the people in my life that's going to help me become a better human being or a better presence of the attributes of what people look for in the good. And I want to say that Dr. Runoko Rashidi and Professor James Small and so many people, Dr. Jeffries, both of them, Anthony T. Browder, so many people changed my life, changed the paradigm of my life. And it's simply because they encouraged me to want to know more of myself. And knowing more of myself, I understand the people around me and why they are manifestations of me, if you will. And I just hope that there's some kind of solace within anything that I said to anybody that listened or had read earlier from the evening, that whatever you do, it does not go in vain. So some kind of way, laws are changed, policies are changed when people decide to, look at a transition and say that the person left, with I don't know, some it doesn't make sense sometimes. So all that I'm saying is, yes, it does make sense if you look at the big picture. And yes, this is just my artistic way of saying thank you to Happy Film, Happy Talk, everybody that's involved, and those who are supporting this community, because it's pretty tough. And I understand that there's many people that just still kind of don't get this way of thinking. So thank you very much for your time and energy, and peace and blessings to everybody that is listening and or reading. Be very well.
Thank you. Thank you. So, again, I want to thank everyone for being a part of this experience. So we have up here the information, how to donate to Dr. Runoko's family. His sister, Carol Strong, is the person receiving the funds and the only person authorized to do so. Please, family, take this opportunity to show your love. in respect. Anthony Browder, you have anything you wanted to say, my brother?
All I can say is that I'm grateful that Runoko was part of a community, a Pan-African centered community, and that those of you who are on this call know how to honor this brother, make sure that he has safe passage into the ancestral realm, and that his name will be called so that he can provide services for those of us who will need his assistance in the days to come, and he will respond. So I love all of you all, and my prayer is that all of you all be healthy, be safe, eat well, rest when you need to, and let someone know when you need help. We're here for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I just wanted to, you know, because we were talking about how it's so interesting. Dr. Rashidi sent roses, and this is one that he sent. And, you know, I say this all the time. I don't know if men know how us women love flowers. And so this is like you know, seeing this in your inbox from him with the African queen, you feel like you were the only African queen. And it's so interesting because I know women are sitting on here thinking like, oh, I thought it was just me, but everyone got these beautiful flowers, which made Dr. Rashidi so, I mean, this is beautiful. So right here, guys, this is like a lesson, you know, that Dr. Rashidi wanted you guys to know, is that us women love flowers, even digitally. Look how beautiful that is. So just wanted to share that with you guys. All right.
Mama J. Let me unmute her. Go ahead, Mama J. We can hear you now.
Oh, I would like to say that the most important thing is to have a strong root, grow children with strong roots, whether you are the parent, biological parent or not, and to teach them to have communication with the God that created them, which is within the ancestral tradition. Because by chance, within this vicarious enslavement system, if your mother forsake you, if your father forsake you, if others forsake you in your community that know not the Pan-African way, then you need, as Leonard Mother said, to stand on your own bottom. And that means to try to teach those who you can to have a resurrection experience, no matter what their age is. Resurrection experience means those contacts with Mayat, with love, to the ability to go through trials and terror, but at the same time have the heart of love and compassion, and thanksgiving, as Camille said, that attitude of thanksgiving, no matter what in the whirlwind that you are going through, because in that is where life is. So resurrection comes before the so-called death. Resurrection in this life. And so those of you who you can touch, and give them the smile that they need to open the spirit door of Kemet, the spirit door, which is the heart of passion, giving, sharing, because to give life is what we're talking about. And we're honoring Runoko because we remember him giving life, sitting down with all kinds of communities of people, sharing the passion that he had, sharing the love that he had, so that while we are warriors, spiritual warriors, Leonard Jeffries and Dr. Small says, spiritual warriors. Charles Mitchell says, spiritual warriors but not those who have lost their heart and their soul. We love you, children of the world. We love you, our own. We love you in the Marcus Garvey sense. Race first. We, your ancestors living right here, meet you in the whirlwind. We pray for your success. We pray for your spiritual awakening. We pray that you become like a tub that stands on its own body, own legs.
Okay. Peace, family. I want to also say briefly the super chats, but people can definitely use this energy to donate to Runoko Rashidi's fund. It's very important. Felicia, please put it back on the screen so they can see it again. Yes, this is where we would like you to take this energy and forward it. And appreciate the super chats. Thank you. But definitely donate to Dr. Runoko Rashidi. We also have with us a brother from California who's been a huge part of the movement with Dr. Runoko Rashidi, Brother Enoch. Brought him on to say some words. Brother Enoch, my brother, peace.
Enoch, can you hear us?
His mic is not on. All right, so while he's trying to connect his mic, Dr. J, you have something you'd like to say? We'll add another few words.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Enoch, we can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry about that. This is my first time on this. Yes, I'd like to say something about Dr. Runoko Rashidi. Okay.
Speak. Yep, you can speak.
It's coming through echoey on my part, like there's double speech. But I'll do the best I can. And so you can hear me? Okay. My name is Enoch Henderson. I reside out.
So you know what, Enoch, you might have to sign out and put on headphones to sign back in. You may need to sign out, sign back in, and put headphones in while you're speaking.
Okay, put these on.
And then,
okay. I'll get out and come back.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You know, and just a short thing is, you know, so if you guys look up and at the picture that we have of Dr. Rashidi that's in the top corner, you know, this was taken by a 12-year-old named Aiden from the ancient Aura jewelry. He took this picture of Dr. Rashidi, and Dr. Rashidi loved it. And this is a picture that has most popped up on the internet everywhere. So that was taken by a young 12-year-old. So I don't know if you guys knew that. Okay. And so we're okay. Taki, did you have any more callers?
Yeah, I was trying to get Dr. J to come back on, but it seems like they muted their mic on that end. They gotta get Charles unmuted.
All right.
Already, Taki.
All right, Dr. J, you'd like to say some more words about Dr. Runoko Rashidi?
Well, certainly. It's been a great pleasure to be able to join the family in this process of celebration, which will continue for eternity. And Runoko was blessed to have, as he moved around the globe, contacts with all of these folks, and you've heard some of them express themselves. And so we need to use this example to apply it to our great ones and to those who have been striving to walk in their path. We need to thank all of you who are involved in the HAPI process. And of course, we've had examples of what can be done through the HAPI family by this activity. But this is not the end. This is the beginning of a continuous journey. And we have to thank one another for being here to be able to share the responsibilities. I'm very proud of everybody. As an elder, I know Dr. Clark would say, well done. Dr. Ben would say, hey, they're doing what I taught them. And a whole host of others are very thankful that we've been able to present in difficult times with viruses everywhere and insanity abounding off of this one and that one. We were able to take an African process around a great African leader and acknowledge his work and know that we have to rededicate ourselves and help others continue to dedicate themselves to continue his contribution to this ancestral process. So I know it's not easy for any of us to accept death, but Africans understood that the death process was such a formative restructuring, resurrection of life that we need to make this a difficult time, but a celebration of us surviving and a rededication of us saying that we have to make a contribution that's for eternity. Sure. And so, Madasi P, many, 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 many thanks to all of you. You've been a fantastic family. I can attest to that because I'm one of the oldest in the house. And I'm proud of all those who followed in the footsteps of our ancestors. So, Madasi P, many, many thanks. And we'll continue to pass this great work on.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Taki, did you have anyone else? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, we have another caller on. Okay, caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Enoch Hinkerson, and I'm calling from Long Beach, California, which is part of the greater Los Angeles County.
Okay, brother Enoch, what's on your mind, brother?
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, you said you have something to share about Dr. Runoko Rashidi?
Oh, yes. What I wanted to share is that I work with Dr. Runoko Rashidi on the Nile Valley Classical High Culture timelines, or basically a lot of timelines. And how I met Runoko was at the Cred Center. Y'all please forgive me if I'm not coming through clear. This is my first time doing this on this platform, on the YouTube platform. I met him at the Cred Center in Los Angeles on 7825 Southwestern after I did a Nile Valley civilization timeline. And he was he looked it over and helped peer review it for me, and he liked it, so his name went on that as assist me on that. And so he liked the timeline, and so he wanted to work on some other projects with me because I have a template, to do other ones. And I believe he said he had like maybe 500,000 images. I had a lot my own self, but nothing like him. I'm a baby. And he wanted to work on I believe it was in 2019, and it was the 400-year anniversary. And there's also, remember that our ancestor, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, he transitioned in 2009, and so 2019 was the 10-year anniversary, and he wanted to do something in honor of him because he knew that this was his pet peeve on the Omic. And so we worked on that Omic scroll. an African president in ancient America, in honor, of Dr. Ivory Sertima. Well, after that, because he wanted to do the whole world. So, y'all know he's known for the global presence of Africans everywhere and showing our high achievements, making us feel proud of who we were and still are. And so it was Mother Day was coming up, and he had a book that was showed earlier, and that he wanted to accompany with the book. He said, what you think, should we do? Should we work on a queen or a king? And so we decided we'll do the queens right now. We'll do the sisters right now, and we'll do the kings later, which you already know. It's still going to happen anyway, just because, he's still with us. So we did the Queens of the Nile, Women of Power scroll, that we had a bunch, have our sisters on it, prominent sister on it, including Hatshepsut and many others. So those are some of the projects, and even here in LA, I did, work with him on, he called me in to do some lectures with him. And those that know Runoko, he don't drive nowhere. And so you had to come get him. So I would come to his house and pick him up, and we would go to do some lectures together, and you can go around the corner to San Diego, which is in our backyard, at the Roby Center with the Sister Makeda, and do some lectures right there. And also, he's a lot of people may not know that he is at the Roby Center, San Diego. That he is over he's a historian of the African diaspora, and they're working on something to a section in tribute to Dr. Runoko Rashidi, and they also have another version that's down there in Peru, and they're working on one in Mexico that Runoko was tied into. We also went up to the Northern California because we were connected, and met with Anthony Browder. You probably remember when him and Runoko was doing a lecture up there, and then me and him, we went to the San Jose and some other areas and met up to do some lectures as well. So, and I could just go on. I'm not trying to take up all the time. But we would meet up. Sometimes he would call and say, you want to go do what you doing? I'll tell him what I'm doing. And of course, I'm trying to fit him into the schedule because it's very important. You want to soak up everything you can get when you get the opportunity from a brother with that magnitude and all the other scholars that's here on the platform as well. And I want to say hi to brother Anthony Browder as well. I got your message. I'm going to respond to you as well as soon as possible too. But we would meet up at the Getty Museum and walk through there and talk about some future projects that he wanted to work on. But then and he would even go to Mexico and go to some sites and work on some other projects down there. However, we all know that the COVID culture hit and it stopped a lot of things. And at that time, Runoko wasn't really seeing nobody. You go to his house and you just have his nephew run out, and we would exchange, sources like that for peer review or things like that. Some of the projects that we're working on as we speak, and but they're still going to come out. You just have to do it in honor of Dr. Runoko Rashidi. But that's my brother and colleague, and I'm a baby, and he's my Jegna as well, and I love him forever. And Brother Tomsky and Sister Felicia, I love you guys forever too, and everyone on this platform, many others for all the great work that you guys are doing. That's it.
Well, we love you too, Brother Enoch, and thank you for your call, and we will definitely be in touch with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take care. Peace.
Thank you.
Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Emmanuel Kulu calling from Buffalo, New York.
Hey, brother, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I just want to send my testimony with Brother Rashidi and what he meant to me, and I want to appreciate you, brothers, for what you're doing. Shout out to the whole HAPI family. I love your work. Brother Anthony Browder, love your work. I've been watching you guys for a while. My father, actually, Emmanuel Kulu Sr., met Dr. Rashidi back in 1996, and I was just a young man at that time. And my father's from Cameroon, and there was an event called Jambo Africa, and Dr. Rashidi, him and my father talked, and they talked for hours about ancient Africa and the miseducation that has happened to our people in this country, the disconnect between Africa and African Americans. And I remember as a young man, Dr. Rashidi telling me, because my father is from Africa and my mother is an African American, he says, young brother, you can be a bridge between your people on the continent and your people in the Americas. Utilize that. And as I grew up and got to meet him in Buffalo, New York, when he came here and did a seminar, and I spoke just before him, and speaking before him, he sat me down and taught me something that I didn't know when we were speaking about Kemet. He told me, he said, because I was talking about how the noses got knocked off the statues, and at that time it was said that Napoleon was responsible for it. But Dr. Rashidi quickly corrected me in a loving way, and told me, brother, we don't have any proof for that. And he's always embraced my work and supported the things that I was doing. And I just wanted to let everyone know that Dr. Rashidi is now an ancestor. He's no longer an elder. He's an ancestor now. His work will live on forever. This man has over probably millions of pictures that he took everywhere he went. He had that camera with him. And he always wanted to show us the beauty of our people around the world. That the black man is the most traveled man across the entire globe. We circumnavigated the globe before anything. This brother loved Africa. He loved his people. And he spent his entire life, trying to teach us and show us the beauty of being African. So condolences to the family. We lost a great scholar, but again, there's no need to mourn. He is now an ancestor. So I just want to send a shout out to all the brothers that are on the stage, on the panel today. I appreciate you, brothers, and I'm here, got your back. Whatever you need, I'm going to continue to support you, the HAPI movement, and all the brothers on the stage and sisters as well. Ashe to all of you.
Ashe, thank you, brother. Peace.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to say quickly to everyone who didn't get a chance to call in, those who called to try to get in, and sorry we didn't get a chance to take your call. We got to start winding the show down now. We do appreciate you reaching out and wanting to share your thoughts with Dr. Runoko Rashidi and his family. I just want to say just thank you to everyone and what this past year has meant for me personally, and how he's impacted. I've shared some things earlier. It's been remarkable, these interviews and just talking to him on the phone, kind of backstage, if you will, and just the enriching he's had in my development. So just thank you, and again, pass on condolences to his family, and we look forward to continuing his work here at HAPI.
Yes. Thank you. So if we're going to go ahead and close out the show. Does anyone have any closing remarks before we play the closing? Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for
Felicia. I just want to say to everybody publicly that I love you all and that I appreciate all that you do for our people. If I don't ever get to say it to you before, especially this man right here, he's like my father. Brother Smalls is like my third father / uncle. I appreciate all of you, Felicia. I thank you for, in this short time of your growth in this information, you've taken it and you've gone soaring, sister, and I'm proud of you for that. Taki, I know you mad at me at times because I didn't finish your editing, but I love you, brother, and the work that you're doing. Keep it up. And of course, Mama J and Tony. Tony, it was a pleasure to be with you in Ghana, and I look forward to more times in Ghana and Kemet. So, and Mama J is holding up my global journey. Make sure that y'all also go to drrunoko.com and keep supporting his work and buy his books. And like I said, continue finish his uncompleted works, add on to his legacy. Like Mama J and Nana Camille are saying, talk to your young people, tell them their story. We have brothers and sisters and cousins that we're fighting with because we don't know our family lineages, and we need to know those stories. And our young people are dying for this information, because when I get together with my family and the young people see cousins that they never saw before, they are so happy. We're not feeding their spirit, and we need to feed their spirit. So continue to work. If you really love our people, show that love to our people in the way that Runoko did, family.
Thank you, Brother Charles.
And one last thing, our brother Anthony Browder has left an enormous mark with a dig in the Nile Valley. Most unusual, but historic. And then to show that he's on the money, we've been with Tony several times to the continent, but I'm looking at a very sexy t-shirt he has with the pharaohs of Nubia. And hey, yes, so Tony is he's on time. This has been on time. It has to be packaged so it can go out to the larger community. So thank you all, Madasi, 1,000 times for doing this great work.
And with that said, Dr. J just really brought it home. We didn't say it this episode, but family, please share the video. Please like the video to get it out to the larger family. It's essential that there have been comments. Please continue to comment. Please continue to like. Please continue to share it. And also, if you have not donated to Dr. Runoko Rashidi's family for the efforts in the transitioning process, please make sure you do so. Take your phones out, take a picture of it. It will be on the in the description on YouTube, but also will live in this video. So please, family, please take this opportunity to do that.
Yes, send it to everyone. Okay. Okay. So, all right, family. Thank you, guys. I'm going to, we're going to now play the closing, and you can hang out backstage so we can, properly thank you. But thank you, guys, and thank everybody in the that has been commenting and sending love and light. And Ms. Strong, we hope that you are receiving, your whole entire family. We hope that you guys can feel our love and light in these next few days. So thank you.
Can I do this? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't hear it back. You've been out of Africa. You've been in Africa so soon. Ululate people. It changes the vibration for the better.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll put it this way, sum it up. As long as you confine yourself to slavery, you're all right. You might even get some money. You can get a museum. You can make a movie. But when you talk about Black people as the mothers and fathers of humanity, as the founders of civilization, then all hell is going to break loose. What does that mean? That African people have to begin, or not begin, but to continue to tell our own story. And if other folk get mad, that's too bad. We're going to tell our story loud and clear. We're not going to whisper. We're not going to stutter. We're not going to stammer. And we're not going to lose sleep if it makes you uncomfortable. You know the expression, until the lion has an historian, the hunter will always be a hero. You got 4 of them right here looking right at you, and we're not going to back up.
Yeah, that moment is the one that seems to cause, for them, just the whole discussion about the Olmecs is something I find quite interesting, and just seeing people where their minds are. And thank you.
And you know what that means? We should go back and do another program on the Olmecs.
Yes,
round 2,
because that African presence in early America is something that they loved it, but some people were just constantly going back and forth with it. I just really wanted to
imagine this now. If they give me grief in 2020 and 2021, imagine what Ivan Van Sertima went through. Imagine what John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben and Jay Rogers and Hansberry and George G.M. James and Drusilla Dungy Houston. Imagine what what they went through. And so we are standing on their shoulders. They are the ones who started this. This is what we're doing is not new. It's a continuation. And I don't intend, and I know I speak for Hunter and Karak, we're not going to drop the ball. We're going to make our best effort. We're going to make mistakes, but we are not going to back up. We're going to do this until there's not a breath in our body. And we're going to do it to the best of our ability. And I'm proud to be a soldier in the Army of African Liberation. And I ain't going to stop.
All right.
I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?